grab the jackets. It's another cool start this morning, but temperatures rise quickly. I'll show you when we'll climb into the 80s.
Budget deal reached. Lawmakers announced a spending agreement after a long stalemate. What this could mean for state employees, including teachers.
Major campus expansion. Today, UNC's Carolina North project takes a step forward. The decision we're expecting today that'll move it closer to a groundbreaking. Well, certainly we have a lot that we're covering this morning. I will never get over this sunrise, though, the cool orange hue that we have going on. It's going to be a nice Wednesday to begin things off. Thanks for joining us here on WRAL News. I'm Chris Levingood.
And I'm Renee Chu, and it's going to be a beautiful afternoon as well, and it's going to warm up. But right now, still on the cool side. Let's get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking our temperatures.
And it's really pretty out there. Dramatic sky. We have clear sky, and then all these little clouds that have popped up. We're going to see a pretty sunrise over the next several minutes. 46 degrees is our temperature, so it's almost as cool as it was this time yesterday. I definitely came in a jacket, was very happy about that. 41 in Roxborough, 46 Rocky Mount, 45 in Southern Pines. It's even 49 in Fayetteville right now. So chilly to start with, but we'll warm on up into the mid 70s by lunchtime, and we'll see a high of 80 this afternoon, and we'll see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. After sunset, we'll cloud up a little bit, and between 11 and midnight, we start to see some showers across the area. Those showers are out of here by the morning commute. It's not a whole lot of rain. I'll show you how much you could see coming up, Ken.
Well, Elizabeth, happening now, a rather quiet start to the morning commute as we take a live look at I-40 and Wade Avenue. The lanes coming toward us, they're heading into the Raleigh-Wade County area, flowing at a nice steady clip. And that's what we're seeing on all of our major routes heading into Raleigh this morning. If you're coming in from Wake Forest, Knightdale, you're coming in from the Garner-Johnston County area, even Apex, all delay-free at this hour. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Ken, thank you. Raleigh police are looking for the driver of a stolen vehicle this morning. Police found the car on New Bern Avenue and Ferris Court around 1:30 a.m. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was there as forensics teams were investigating. Police say officers were not involved in a chase before the investigation. And in Cary, firefighters were called out to an early morning house fire. The home is on Notterly Place. That's near Green Level Church Road. The Cary fire chief says 3 people were in the home. Nobody was hurt. It appears the fire started outside the house. Today, we'll be watching for updates in the state legislature as Republican leaders say they have finally reached a budget deal.
And to talk more about this significant update, we have WRAL's Kirsten Clark reporting live outside the state legislative building. Kirsten, this deal, it ends a year-long standoff over state spending priorities.
Yes, Chris, and the agreement includes raises for all state employees, including big bumps for teachers and law enforcement officers, and a consensus on a schedule for income tax cuts. Now, let's take a closer look here. At least a 3% raise for all state employees and an on average 8% raise for teachers. State law enforcement officers, prison workers, and more would also see larger raises. And there are also bonuses on the table depending on employee experience. Now, the deal would institute gradual income tax decreases over the next few years, reaching 3.24% by 2030. At the same time, it calls for a pair of constitutional amendments on the November ballot, which would cap income and property taxes. House Speaker Destin Hall said tax provisions were key, but Democrats say the raises are too little and they should have been approved a long time ago.
Why on earth would we be treating people outside of the state better than we're treating people inside the state? Why don't we give meaningful relief to the people who are complaining?
And so our goal all along has been to stretch out the timeline on the tax cuts, and it was way too quick under the prior policy because we had those static triggers.
Yeah, so you hear both sides there. That budget deal still needs to make its way through the House and the Senate before it can reach Governor Stein's desk. We, of course, will continue to follow the latest developments, and you can find updates on WRAL.com. Live in Raleigh, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
Again, going to our website will get you up to speed on what's happening. Plus, be sure to tune into our evening news starting at 4 p.m.
An entrance at WakeMed's Raleigh campus is temporarily closed after a car crashed into the building. This happened around 8:15 last night. WakeMed says the driver unintentionally hit the building. 2 people were treated for minor injuries.
Well, this morning, the UNC Chapel Hill Board of Trustees is moving forward with its plans to build a 250-acre second campus. It would be called Carolina North, and it's less than 2 miles away from the flagship campus. WRAL's Ali Calabar joins us live from where that new campus would be, off Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Chapel Hill. Ali, trustees are expected to vote today on the designers for this project.
Yeah, Chris, this new campus would be built right behind me at the former Horace Williams Airport, and trustees approved $8 million for this design and planning phase. And today's decision is just the beginning of this multi-phase project. Now, phase one of the 700-acre site would include undergraduate housing for more than 2,000 students, academic research buildings, a hotel, and retail spaces. Carolina North is one location that's being considered for replacement for the Dean Smith Center, but phase one doesn't include a basketball arena at this point. Construction for phase one would begin next year, and so the UNC Chapel Hill Board of Trustees is expected to make that decision on the designers today at a special meeting at 10 this morning. WRAL will be following this. Reporting live in Chapel Hill, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
New this morning, researchers say students are in a, quote, reading recession. New data released today shows that North Carolina and most U.S. states are still about a half a grade level behind where they were in reading before the COVID-19 pandemic. North Carolina is one of many states that's overhauling how it teaches young children to read. The state is doing it to align with decades of research on how people learn to read. State officials say that more work is coming, especially for second and third graders. For more on North Carolina's results and what the state is doing, you can visit the education section of WRAL.com.
We are hearing from the Fayetteville mayor after the announcement that the Goodyear tire plant is closing. 1,700 people will lose their jobs when it closes in 2027. Mayor Mitch Colvin says economic development officials informed him of the closure yesterday morning. We asked him what this means for the city of Fayetteville.
1,700 jobs is a lot. It has been a pillar of our community back when it was Kelly Springfield, and it's always been one of the probably top 5 or 10 employers. What we need to do now is to be very thoughtful about, they've given us a year or so to train and to plan as to how we can reactivate that site.
Colvin says the city will look at ways to help workers find new jobs before the plant closes. This morning, there is an effort to make buying concert tickets to see your favorite artists easier and more affordable. People are calling for a crackdown on second and third party ticket sellers. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from downtown Raleigh. Kelsey, there's a push to make it illegal to use bots for buying tickets.
Yes, Renee, that push is all about helping you buy tickets to see the artists you love without getting ripped off. In a few hours, we'll learn more about this plan to make the ticket buying process easier and more affordable. Today's call to action comes after Ticketmaster's parent company, Live Nation, was found guilty of overcharging and having a monopoly over large venues. Now there's a call to target price gouging for concert tickets at clubs and small venues in North Carolina by putting limits on second and third party sellers. A new bill could ban resellers from using bots to buy a large number of tickets. It would also require resellers to provide direct links to the primary seller and stop using misleading content that makes them look like the primary seller. This all in an effort to lower ticket prices and prevent fake tickets from being sold. North Carolina lawmakers, club owners, and musicians will host a news conference this morning at 10:30 so we can learn more about this new plan. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A Johnson County man is charged in connection with a shooting. Brian Wilson here on your screen faces charges including stalking and assault with a deadly weapon. The shooting happened yesterday morning on Brook Lane near Middlesex. The victim was taken to the hospital, but that person's condition is unclear right now.
The 18-year-old charged in the Triangle Town Center shooting will stay behind bars until his court date next month. Marcus Neal was ordered yesterday to stay in jail without bond. His lawyer says Neal has no criminal record and was acting in self-defense. Neal was working at a mall kiosk when 3 people assaulted his coworker. His lawyer says he grabbed a gun from the kiosk and fired to protect his friend. Neal's next hearing is June 2nd. A Goldsboro man is charged with child sex crimes. Ryan Poole is charged with 10 counts of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. Investigators say Poole had several sexually explicit photos of minors. He is being held under a $20,000 secured bond.
Today, Caterpillar will be talking about plans to add roughly 600 new jobs in Sanford. The company says these roles will be in production. The announcement will happen at 10 this morning, and that will be at the Caterpillar manufacturing plant on Womack Road. Your time this Wednesday morning is 6:09. Property tax savings. State lawmakers advanced a bill that could provide some relief for homeowners. The new concerns about the future of education funding if it becomes law.
Bridge collapse charges. Federal prosecutors have filed charges in connection to that deadly 2024 bridge collapse in Baltimore. How much the owner and operators of the ship could owe if found guilty.
And grab a jacket heading out the door. It's chilly out there, mostly low to mid 40s. It does warm up nicely this afternoon and then in for some rain tonight. So a lot going on in the Weather Center. I'll explain.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13. This might be considered cruel on a Wednesday morning, but I just couldn't resist. It looked so beautiful. This is a look at Carolina Beach, and yes, there are people out on the beach looking at this absolutely gorgeous sunrise. Sunrise is pretty here too, but this one I just couldn't pass it by. You know, it's only a week and a half until Memorial Day weekend, and kind of kicking off the summer season. It looks pretty there. 39 in Roanoke Rapids. Feels chilly around here this morning. 46 in Durham and Goldsboro. 45 in Southern Pine. So a jacket will feel good as you're heading out the door to walk the dog this morning. We do warm up fast into the mid 70s at lunchtime and to 80 this afternoon. I'm still tracking our next weather maker, which brings us some rain overnight tonight. I'll walk you through the timeline coming up. Ken?
Let's with weather and traffic every 10 minutes. Let's start with this northern loop of the Beltline, I-440 and Ridge Road. These are the westbound lanes coming toward us here in the Ridge Road interchange as we widen out the view. Give you a look at the entire section of that northern loop of the Beltline. No delays whatsoever, which is really good news. And that's what we're seeing on some of our major routes. Coming up, I'll look to see if we're picking up any delays on any of the other major routes heading into the Raleigh-Wake County area. Renee.
Sounds good. Ken, thanks for that update. The owners and operators of the cargo ship that slammed into a Baltimore bridge in 2024 are being criminally charged. 6 people were killed when the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed after the crash. Federal prosecutors are accusing the owners and operators of conspiracy, obstruction, and lying to federal investigators. If found guilty, they could be liable for billions of dollars on top of the civil settlement they've already reached.
And I'm Laura Levine here in the WRAL Live Center this morning, following news out of the UK, where today King Charles III plans to lay out his government agenda. We have a live look here of all the pomp and historic trappings that take place for this ceremonial opening of Britain's Parliament. So the question is whether Prime Minister Keir Starmer will be around to actually implement the King's plans, and even if he survives the latest government crisis, whether he'll have the authority to push his proposals through Parliament. The King's speech will be Starmer's second attempt to save his premiership after his Labour Party suffered huge losses in local and regional elections last week. As we've covered, the Prime Minister has been criticized on being too timid in attacking the rising cost of living, wealth, inequity, and the country's creaking public services. So, of course, we'll follow the latest as the Prime Minister is on his way to the King's speech.
A bill that could save you money on property taxes is raising concerns about funding for education. This bill would put a question on November's ballot about a constitutional amendment. If approved, it would restrict how much city and county governments could raise property taxes each year. But for counties, property taxes are their main funding tool.
Well, it is deeply frustrating and disconcerting that, again, we are not really uplifting the conversation about the role of the state, taking a step back from really fulfilling their obligation to fund the things that are now being pushed to the local level.
I'm not confident that more money is going to stop any spending. So we have to put a cap on the levy limit.
Lawmakers also discussed closing an affordable housing property tax loophole that would benefit local municipalities. Wake County actually lost $12 million in revenue because of that loophole.
Happening today, North Carolina First Lady Anna Stein and former Carolina Panthers star Steve Smith Sr. will be in Raleigh to talk about mental health. They will speak at a business summit about the mental health challenges that our workforce faces. That will be at the West End Hotel near RDU. You will have limited access to Lake Wheeler Park over the next few days. Water access will be restricted starting today because of the ACC Women's Rowing Championships. Those restrictions will last through Saturday. The park will be completely closed tomorrow as well. 9 collegiate teams will be racing on the water, and you can watch the race at the park Friday and Sunday. Raleigh's main water source keeps shrinking. The city tells us Falls Lake's water supply is now at 77% capacity. That's down 1% from last week. The shrinking water supply is why Raleigh water customers are under restrictions. City leaders expect the restrictions to be in place until at least June.
So our weather has been severe clear most of the spring, which is usually very active, right? We have meteorologist Chris Michaels breaking down the root cause behind the lack of the storminess in today's Ask the Meteorologist. Chris, it was just this time last year we had 3 tornadoes in one county.
Yeah, that was in Edgecombe County, and on this day last year, right around this time, we were showing you guys this picture of a house with significant damage from one of those tornadoes. In fact, here's some of the video from that day. This was all in Edgecombe County. There were 3 EF1s, and you may remember one was in Princeville and the other was in Pine Tops, and they happened within 12 hours of each other. So thankfully, we haven't had anything like that this spring. So I went back and I looked at the number of warnings issued across the state and how that compares with an average spring. So in the brighter red, there you see we've had 96 total severe weather warnings between tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, and flash flood. On average, through May, you have 234 cumulative. So we're at about 40% of the average warnings. Again, no complaints there, but it's just been very quiet. All 14 tornado warnings happened in March. Last time that we went all April, all May without a tornado warning was 2016. 81 severe thunderstorm warnings is the least through May since 1994, and just 1 flash flood warning so far this spring all across North Carolina. The root cause, this area of high pressure. The sinking air beneath it means there's fewer clouds. It's also got clockwise wind around it, helping to block storms out to the west, and so that's why it's been hard for us to get rain, and therefore hard for us to see any severe weather. Again, not complaining about that, but Elizabeth, we do need some rain, and chances look pretty slim heading into tonight.
They do, Chris. Okay, tracking a front that'll come through overnight tonight, and it looks like we'll see less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. We're not going to see it affecting us nearly at all during the day today. You can see this pretty sunrise here in downtown Durham. It is 46 degrees, so it's a chilly start out there this morning, similar to what we saw yesterday. Here comes our next weather maker, and you can tell already that it doesn't have much rain associated with it. The energy from this stays much farther north, up near the Great Lakes, and even farther up into Canada. And it just isn't going to be able to tap into any of the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic, so that really limits our moisture. It is likely to arrive around or just after 11 p.m. So today, this afternoon, during the evening commute, we're all quiet and sunny. And then finally, between 10 and 11, we begin to see some scattered showers roll through. This is midnight here, and at 2 a.m., it passes through the triangle and along the I-95 corridor, and by 5 o'clock, it's over. So it doesn't affect our evening commute or our morning commute, and it also doesn't bring us very much rain. We're talking about maybe 1/10 of an inch or less with this one. Our next chance of rain doesn't come until Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and it's a 20% chance. Once we get into Saturday, we move into our true summer pattern. That means hot and humid with just those isolated pop-up storms. That's not likely to get us out of the drought because that rain just isn't widespread. Getting outside this weekend, just remember it's going to be hot. We've had some hot days already, especially in April, 80s and 90s. But what we didn't see in April was very much humidity, and that's what we will see. Looking ahead, the next 6 to 10 days are starting to hone in next week into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday, with a chance of a front moving in and stalling that could bring us some, maybe some more additional rainfall. That, of course, is Memorial Day weekend, so we'll have our eye on it. Boy, we need as much as 11 to 15 inches of rain in a month to get us out of the drought. So we have a very long way to go. Enjoy these cooler days Thursday and Friday, tomorrow and Friday. After the front, it's nice and cool. Friday morning, 43 degrees. And then we're going to jump up into the low 90s by the weekend. So, Ken, that's some real springtime weather for you.
Oh, you're telling me. All right, Elizabeth, thanks. Hey, let's head outside, shall we? Give you a live look at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. These are the westbound lanes coming toward us. You can see traffic has picked up quite a bit, but flowing at a nice steady clip. We're not seeing any delays on that southern loop of the Beltline whatsoever, and no delays on any of those routes in terms of I-40 westbound, particularly if you're coming in from the Garner-Johnston County area. And really and truly, we're not seeing any delays on any of our major routes coming from Knightdale, Wake Forest. You're coming east on I-40 and out of Apex, delay-free at this hour. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Ken, thank you. New views, first on WRAL. A look at Raleigh's future Gateway City Plaza. How this high-tech development would anchor a new downtown neighborhood.
Plus, liquor sales on Sunday, the new push to change state liquor laws, and the divide it's creating among lawmakers. Well, there's a new push to change state liquor laws, including where you get your adult drinks. One proposal would allow canned cocktails to be sold in grocery stores. Actual bottles of liquor, though, would still only be available in ABC stores, even if that change passed. Another change would allow ABC stores to open on Sundays for the first time ever. We reported last week about a separate push to fully privatize liquor sales in our state. Lawmakers we heard from say that this is still off the table and not up for debate.
This What's Trending report is sponsored by Call Dad AC and Heating.
Broadway is getting a little weird.
Yeah, to talk about that weirdness, we have Ken Smith here and What's Trending.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. You're not weird.
Hey, Weird Al Yankovic heading to Broadway, a new stage production featuring his most beloved songs. It's called Dare to Be Stupid, the Weird Al musical, and will feature an original story.
Yeah, the people behind this musical also apparently did Beetlejuice and Moulin Rouge. I mean, goodness, come on. We're Al Yankovic, perfect character to do something
He's
on.
genius.
Yes.
The parody king. That would be a great watch.
Big fan.
Ken, thank you. The spring finale of One Chicago is almost here. You can watch the season enders for Chicago Med, Fire, and PD all tonight on WRAL. The shows lead right up to WRAL News at 11.
Your time is 6:26 this Wednesday morning. State budget deal. Lawmakers reach an agreement to end that lengthy budget stalemate. The raises this deal could give teachers and state employees.
Paying a fair price. The new effort to make sure you don't overpay to see your favorite artists, especially when using second and third party sellers. And it's a chilly start out there, mid-40s if you're headed out the door for your morning walk, run, bike ride. But we warm up fast to the low 70s by lunchtime. I'll let you know when we'll expect rain later on.